There was a time, not so many years ago, when I felt on the margins. I was made to feel marginalized in my Judaism because I did not conform to the nice, straight, orthodox boy that I was expected to be. There was no room in my life for questioning beliefs, such as asking why the pages about evolution had been cut out of the biology textbooks in my school. Likewise, there was no allowance given for the principles that really matter to me, including gender equality, religious ideological freedom, and welcoming the other. From that place on the margins, as an outsider, I was able to glance across the whole sphere of Judaism and take in many different perspectives. Moreover, as someone who felt powerless, it wasn't hard to identify the people who held the religious power. I can't believe it, how across a few decades, I've gone from feeling like a marginalized Jew to finding my community here and even becoming one of your co-senior rabbis. But with that privileged position comes a great responsibility. And this responsibility is best expressed by the philosopher Hegel. In his brilliant but complex book entitled The Phenomenology of the Spirit, Hegel devotes a section to the master-slave dialectic. It's 8:20 p.m. on a Tuesday evening. That's probably a lot to take in right now. Hegel, phenomenology, master-slave dialectic, all pretty convoluted. But bear with me, because within that master-slave dynamic, we are introduced to an oh-so-simple circle. The slave stands on the perimeter, the margin. The master stands at the very center of the circle. And the slave moves around the edge, devoting himself to serving the master at the center. But that is not the important point. The critical thing to note is that the master, from the center of the circle, can only look in any one direction at any time. Imagine if I was giving this little sermon from the middle of the room. I'd be constantly having to turn around to look at all of you. But the slave on the margins, at the edge of the room, stuck in the corner, always gets the full picture. Now, of course, none of that's to say it's better to be a slave, because clearly it's not. But what Hegel highlights is that being the master also comes with a danger, because you can so easily lose perspective. And without perspective, you can and most likely will get it wrong. I know the challenges of being at the center of the circle, and whilst I wouldn't want to return to the Jewish margins, I need to constantly question whether what I'm seeing is the full picture in the center of the room. And that's why those core questions across these High Holy Days are so very important. Ma'anu, what are we? What is our life? What is our love? What is our justice? What is our success? What is our power? Tonight and tomorrow, I want you to imagine that you are not the master of all you survey, but to imagine that you are at the very center of the circle that is your life, because you are. And because you inhabit the center of that circle, you are constantly at risk of not having the full picture. But Yom Kippur is all about widening our perspectives to gain a more critical, a more accurate view of ourselves. It's why I love that image in the book of Jonah, when even the king of Nineveh, the master of his entire city, joins all his servants sitting on the floor, where they sit together, covered in sackcloth and ash, fasting and trying to regain some perspective on where they have gone wrong. And so tonight, as we leave the centers of our circles, let's ask ourselves, not just what are we, but what were we? Not just what is our life, but what is our mortality? Not just what is our love, but what is our hatred? Not just what is our justice, but what injustices have we ignored? Not just what is our success, but what is our failure? Not just what is our power, but who do we render powerless? And in so doing, let's see if we can gain a new and more insightful perspective before returning tomorrow night to the very centers of our world. That, for me, is what renewal is really about. There are now 22 hours and 28 minutes. Good luck.